Hey, friends, and welcome back to the Scrappy Piano Teacher podcast. If you're new here, my name is Jacqueline Mrozik, but you can call me Jackie. And I've been teaching piano for almost 3 decades. And this podcast is where we talk about the real behind the scenes of studio life. It's honest, scrappy, sometimes a little messy, and hopefully encouraging because let's be real, teaching piano isn't all about sitting back and eating bonbons and giving out stickers. Okay, so today I'm just going to get straight into it and start with a little story of mine. So I do Pilates, and it is not because I'm one of those people who loves waking up at 6 a.m. and hitting the gym. I do not like cardio. I do not like working out. I would much rather sit and lay in my bed for about 4 hours with my cats drinking coffee. But I don't always get to do that. It literally keeps my body moving. And by saying that is because I have rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. And Pilates is basically my physical therapy. I started doing it because it was a lot more affordable and it does the trick. So without it, I can't move comfortably. I end up limping a little bit and I can't show up for students the way that I want to. But when I go, it's like magic. I can move just fine. Now, my Pilates studio has 3 membership options that I can choose from. I can do 4 classes a month, 8 classes a month, or unlimited, meaning I could literally go every single day of the week if I really, really wanted to get out of bed. But that doesn't happen all the time. Anyway, I have been lucky enough to be grandfathered into the unlimited package at a special rate, but here's how it works. If you're on the 8-class plan and you decide, oh, I'm going to add in 1 additional class this month, you end up paying the per class rate plus an extra fee. Well, that's an additional $25 just for that 1 class. And honestly, when you do the math, that in itself costs more than my unlimited plan. So it's just smarter for me to keep the unlimited and not to adjust my package. And they also have strict cancellation rules. So if you cancel more than 24 hours in advance, it's no problem. You can switch your schedule around however you want to. But if you cancel within the 24 hours, there will be a $10 fee. And if you cancel within the hour of the actual class, it'll be $15. And listen, there have been so many times. It's kind of embarrassing how many times I just didn't feel like going and I canceled anyway. So the fees do stack up. And let me tell you, there's nothing more humbling than realizing you've basically been paying for a very, very, very expensive couch sitting membership. And here's the big kicker that has been the most, we'll say, the biggest accountability motivator for me. I recently found out that if I'm a no-show at one of my classes, it's not just about me. The instructors actually lose part of their bonus or some kind of their pay structure. I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I know that they lose a financial incentive when the clients don't show up, i.e., me. So those fees aren't just about keeping me accountable. They're about protecting the instructor's time and income too. And even though I have wanted to argue their policies 100 times because I hate losing money and I hate getting off the couch, I do respect them. Their system works. And most of the time, if I'm honest, when I cancel, it's really not an emergency. It's just me not wanting to go. And that's on me. That's not on them. So I think that relates really well with what we do. And I think that's another reason why I've thought about their policy structure so often is because we talk about our makeup lesson policy all the time as music instructors, because music lessons really are the same way. And parents, they want to argue about makeup sometimes, right? Or no shows or refunds. But just like my Pilates studio, our policies aren't only about accountability for students, but they're about protecting us as teachers because, hello, we're real people too. And here's what I want to pause and say before I get into this. I think that makeup lessons are definitely one of those topics where every teacher has an opinion, and that's fine. Spoiler alert, most of us think that our way is the best way. And you know what? It probably is for us in our specific situation. But what works beautifully in one studio might flop in another. And that is the beauty of this job. We get to choose what works for us. So as I walk through these options, I want to be sure that we offer each other some grace and keep an open mind. All right, so let's talk about the menu of makeup approaches, shall we? So there is a popular monthly group class option, and that is where if you miss a lesson, there is a day selected out of the month that is a group class, and that is what you can do instead. And the upside of this is there's lots of community that you can create. There's variety. You can do composers, composition, stuff that you can't fit into normal lessons. They are fun and families love it if they actually show up. I did this for a season and it was okay. Um, I don't know. People didn't usually show up and they wanted a different makeup lesson anyway. And I felt like it didn't make much progress with me, but I didn't enforce it maybe the way that I should have. So if you can make this work, I know that some studios love it. Another option that I have seen starter studios do is when they simply just have lesson slots that are built-in makeup lesson slots, which creates some flexibility for the family. So let's say that, Johnny can't do his Tuesday lesson anymore because he started basketball. So now he's going to switch to Thursday. Well, you have that wiggle room. So it's not really that big of a deal. And that works great for smaller studios. But as you build and fill up, it becomes a little unsustainable. But if you can do it for now, that's a good option. Another one that I have one specific teacher friend I'm thinking of who swears by this, and that is her parent swap list. So families that choose to do so swap with one another and the teacher stays out of it. So there is a list of the schedule. The parents can see it. If they need to switch to that Thursday time for Johnny, they can see, what other families are on there and they can contact them themselves asking if they can swap for the weeks. Other teachers I know use holiday weeks like that Monday and Tuesday of Thanksgiving or spring break to fit in their makeup lessons, going along with the monthly group class, maybe a couple Saturdays each semester set aside just for makeups. Families know that it's their only chance. Virtual lessons. There's always those virtual lessons that some people opt to do instead of the student coming in. One that I do for inclement weather, I don't do, this is not my makeup policy, but for inclement weather, this is, and that is asynchronous lessons. So this is becoming a favorite for me because I record a 15-ish minute teaching video and I send it out to the students. It's on one subject. I am going to do a podcast on that in 2 weeks, but then they can watch it whenever. So it fits with them. So asynchronous lessons are really great. There's a few options that you can do with them. Again, I will talk about that here in a few weeks. And then, of course, you have the no makeup lessons ever, like the hard line approach. Tuition holds a spot. End of story. Some teachers thrive with this. And personally, I do not have the guts. As a mom of three, I get how chaotic family life is, but if this works for you, I applaud you. So there you go. There's some different ideas. I know that there's more out there, but I think those seem to be the most effective and the most popular. Now, I don't do any of those. What works for me, and again, this might not work for you, but this is what works really well for my studio. And that is I have built in student weeks into our calendar. So I offer 2 makeup lessons a year. Example, if I plan on teaching 44 weeks in a year, I only charge for 42, but there are 44 lessons scheduled. So if a student misses once or twice, it's already covered. And if they don't miss and they come to all 44 weeks, they get a bonus. They get like 2 free lessons. And yes, people might tell me, but Jackie, you're giving away free lessons. And my response to that is, aren't you already giving them away if you reschedule even just one of them? I mean, think about it. You've already set aside a lesson slot for them. They didn't take it. So chances are you got a nice break. Maybe you got to use the restroom. Maybe you got to eat a snack. Maybe you got to play some Candy Crush. I hope you got some admin time done, but let's be real. I never end up getting admin time done. So then you have to reschedule it again. It's going to take up your time, whether you like it or not. With built-in weeks, it's defined and it's limited. Everyone knows the boundaries. And for me, it's taken away a ton of the stress. I'm not scrambling, I'm not resentful, and parents are clear on the expectations. Now, those are for makeup lessons for my students. And I want to be clear about this because a few months ago, podcast episode 48, I did an episode on flex weeks. And the flex weeks are for when the teacher needs to miss a lesson. So makeups, the 2 makeups that I built in for the year. So let's say there's 44 lessons that I've scheduled in the year. I'm charging for 42. Those 2 weeks that I have taken off of the billing schedule is for the makeup lessons for my students. The flex weeks that I'm going to talk about now are for the teacher. Flex weeks are not makeup weeks. Makeup weeks are for the students. Flex weeks are for the teacher. I know that other people might use different words. That's great. That's fabulous. But for the sake of this podcast, I'm going to use that to help differentiate the two. So flex weeks, again, for the teacher, are my PTO. They are my paid time off. They're my vacation. They're my sick days, conference time, mental health days, whatever. Animal emergencies, call it what you want. That's for me. So here's the math if I put it all together. Okay, let's say that I am going to schedule 44 weeks in my calendar. I'm going to subtract 2 in the tuition for my students. So now I'm charging 42 weeks so that the students can miss any 2 weeks that they need to. But then I want to have 2 flex weeks for me, meaning that I want to be able to say anytime during the year, if I need to take a week off, I can, but I don't want it to affect my tuition. So I'm going to subtract 2 more. On the calendar, there are 44 weeks scheduled, but now I'm charging for 40 weeks spread evenly across the year. Students will still see 44 weeks on the calendar, but tuition math is based on 40. So the key takeaway is that makeup weeks are student facing, flex weeks are teacher facing. They're 2 separate things. And this is really a beautiful thing because let's say that I don't actually get sick. Well, then guess what we're going to do? We're going to end our season 2 weeks early. And I get 2 additional weeks off in May. How great is that? Because we all know how much we love Maycember. So that might be something to think about. And then you might ask, well, what if I have to miss more than 2 weeks? Well, that's a great question. Then you might want to consider maybe sending out asynchronous lessons for additional lessons that you miss. Maybe you do want to credit those weeks. That's a whole nother conversation. But ask yourself, do you usually miss more than 1 or 2 weeks? What's your average? And then you want to take that. So that's the breakdown. There are lots of ways to handle makeups. Group classes, swap lists, designated days, asynchronous, or even no makeups at all. And if your system is working, don't change it. But if you're tired, resentful, or constantly chasing down absences, maybe it's time to try something new. And for me, that magic combination is 2 student weeks and 2 flex weeks. Families know what to expect. I have breathing room and my studio feels sustainable. And if flex weeks still feel confusing, don't worry. It does take time to get used to the idea that teachers deserve PTO too. I know it's hard to wrap your mind around it, and I get questions on it weekly since I released that podcast a few months ago. But once you build it in, it really does feel like the raise that you didn't know you needed. It really is spectacular. So thanks for hanging out with me today. In 2 weeks, I will be back with a whole episode on asynchronous lessons, how they work, why they're so powerful, how to create them, and how to use them as one of your best flexible teaching tools. In the meantime, feel free, if you haven't already, to grab my free editable Canva calendar at scrappypianoteacher.com, and you can start playing with it so that you can see what this could look like in your own studio. Until next time, keep teaching, keep learning, and don't forget, you deserve margin too. See you next time. Bye.